This year was, without a doubt, one of the best years in wrestling ever. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. I hope you liked my comic book guy impression. I know I did it for the 2001 DVD review, but we're doing it for the 2006 DVD pay-per-view review. So, without any further ado, let's dive right into it. So, first off, we have New Year's Revolution 2006. This was the Elimination Chamber match. Of course, there you see John Cena on the cover. Now, this year was rather interesting, especially the beginning. So, it's Elimination Chamber. So, yeah. You could pause it there if you want to read that part. So, yeah. Because I really can't zoom right now because I'm holding the DVD in one hand and I have my phone in the other. So, yeah, anyway. So, there's New Year's Revolution. It's John Cena. Take a look at the back. This is more known for the night when Edge cashed in Money in the Bank. And oh, did I hate Edge in 2006. Oh, gosh. I love the guy now, but back then he was one of the more annoying wrestlers. But hey, he was doing his job, right? He was making the fans hate him. There's a spine. Yeah, this is a pretty good pay-per-view. Of course, the commentary was by Joey Styles and Jonathan Coachman. Jerry Lawler actually wrestled against Gregory Helms. So, yes, we had John Cena defending the title in the chamber against Kane, Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, Carlito, and Chris Masters. Of course, you had Triple H versus Big Show. You had Gregory Helms versus Jerry Lawler. The right person won, thankfully, with Jerry Lawler. We had Shelton Benjamin versus Viscera. It was a good show. Trish Stratus versus Mickie James. Excellent. All right. All right. Next up is Royal Rumble 2006. Interesting cover art here. Yeah, pretty cool. Oh, by the way, New Year's Revolution was a Raw pay-per-view. This was a Royal Rumble was a joint pay-per-view of Raw and SmackDown. ECW hadn't came into the fray just yet. So, there's the back. There's your main event match of Mark Henry and Kurt Angle. John Cena versus Edge. John Cena would win the belt back on this night. So, yeah, there's Raw, SmackDown. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series were considered major pay-per-views. I'm not going to be like these wrestling marks, these morons that say, "Oh, the Big Four, the Big Four." Shut up. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that. These are the same freaking morons who say heel and babyface. Grow up, seriously. Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to go on that little tangent there, but anyway, it's Royal Rumble. Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble match, and Gregory Helms won the Cruiserweight title, thus going to SmackDown. And this also marked the return of The Undertaker, who came back and pretty much challenged Kurt Angle on this night. And so, there you go. Speaking of this, speaking of Kurt Angle, great cover art of No Way Out 2006. There's the... Is that the world title belt? I don't know, but I like the cover design. It looks pretty dope. So, all right, take a look at the back. There you see Kurt Angle, Undertaker. So, also this night, yeah, Kurt Angle and Undertaker fought for the World Heavyweight Championship. That, AKA that big annoying gold belt that everybody seems to have a hard-on for. Not me. I mean, it's not a bad belt. I mean, I just think people they were just so addicted to it that it just became overrated real quick. So that kind of killed it for me. But anyway, you have Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton for the #1 contender spot at WrestleMania. Taker versus Angle in one of the most awesome main events. They could have done that at the Royal Rumble, but it was what it was. So, all in all, a great show. We also had JBL versus Booker T. I'm sorry. JBL versus Bobby Lashley and Chris Benoit versus Booker T. So yeah, Booker T was the United States champion. So Booker T versus Chris Benoit. Unfortunately, this match doesn't get acknowledged because of what Chris Benoit did, killing his wife and his son. Yeah, may you rot in hell, Chris Benoit. You should have never done that. Great wrestler, but terrible human being for what he did. So, anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm not a big Chris Benoit fan. I mean, I was a fan of him before he did what he did, but, after what he did to his son and his wife, he does not belong in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what people may say in the comments. He does not belong in the Hall of Fame. He's a murderer. Yeah, he was a good wrestler, but he freaking did something that's going to forever overshadow his wrestling career. So, no one's fault but his. Anyway, enough of that. So, WrestleMania 22, one of my favorite WrestleManias. So, this WrestleMania is pretty good. I actually really love it. There's, of course, your main events. They're on the top. Triple H versus John Cena for the WWE title. You also had Kurt Angle, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight title triple threat match. You also had Mick Foley versus Edge hardcore match. Mark Henry versus Undertaker in a casket match. Yeah, Mark Henry and Undertaker had an excellent match. I really love that casket match. Kudos to both men. Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels in a street fight, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But if you're going to correct me, please try not to sound rude. So, yeah. Because remember, no haters allowed on the Vicente Yante YouTube channel. Anyway, so take a look at the back. Really good WrestleMania. Money in the Bank. RVD won Money in the Bank. Oh, we're going to get to that later, by the way. Really great WrestleMania. Really great WrestleMania from Chicago, Chi-Town. Really good. And, yeah. All right. Next up is Backlash 2006, which was the follow-up to WrestleMania. Triple threat match for the WWE Championship. We had Edge. This is a Raw pay-per-view, by the way. And No Way Out was a SmackDown pay-per-view. Sorry. So we had Triple H, John Cena, and Edge for the WWE Championship. Really a stellar main event. I liked it. Triple H and Edge and Cena put on one hell of a match. Cena won. I know everybody was really sick of John Cena. I like John Cena. He's cool. And this is one of the more lamer matches on the card. I don't even know why they did this. I don't know what Vince McMahon was doing at the time, or what he was on, or whatever. But he was whacked out of his mind. Vince and Shane versus Shawn Michaels and God. Really, what the heck kind of match was that? I don't know what they were thinking with that match. But whatever. Take a look at the back. Yeah, Kane versus The Big Show. Ric Flair versus Umaga. Umaga made his appearance, his first pay-per-view appearance. Rest in peace, Umaga. You will be missed for being one of the best wrestlers, and you did your job, buddy. Rest in peace. Eddie Fatu. So yeah. Really great show. Backlash 2006. You had RVD versus Shelton Benjamin, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah. All right. What's that? All right. All right. Judgment Day 2006. Judgment Day 2006 SmackDown exclusive pay-per-view. This was back when the brand split was in full swing, and as you can see, there's your main event right here. JBL versus Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight Championship. You also had, hold on. You also had Great Khali versus The Undertaker. And a lot of people say one of the worst matches, which I personally I don't agree with that, but people have their opinion. I know Khali was not the best wrestler. Kurt Angle versus Mark Henry. Booker T versus Bobby Lashley to determine the King of the Ring. Yes, they actually did that. I don't know why. They should have just brought back the King of the Ring pay-per-view for crying out loud. So, That's what it was. What it was. So yeah. So Undertaker and Great Khali. This was Great Khali's first pay-per-view match. So yeah. That was Judgment Day 2006. Also, we had Gregory Helms versus Super Crazy, Chris Benoit versus Dave Finlay, Fit Finlay, whatever you want to call him. Eminem versus Paul London and Brian Kendrick. And yeah. Put that back. And next up, we have ECW One Night Stand 2006. The night when this gentleman right here, RVD, won the WWE Championship and cashed in Money in the Bank. This was in the Hammerstein Ballroom. Take a look at the back. Just has the date, June 11, 2006. Also, we had one of the most violent hardcore matches. You had Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk versus Mick Foley and Edge. Actually, it turned out to be a six-person tag match. It was Tommy Dreamer, Terry Funk, and Beulah McGillicuddy against Alita, Edge, and Mick Foley. And again, like I said, one of the most violent matches and of the night. And then we had Jerry Lawler versus Taz. We had Randy Orton versus Kurt Angle. And yeah. And the commentary was handled by Joey Styles and Taz. Alright. Next up we have Vengeance 2006. One of my favorite Vengeance pay-per-views. Of course, we had Ric Flair versus Mick Foley. This was the night when Edge challenged Rob Van Dam for the ECW World title. Or, I'm sorry, the WWE Championship. Because at the time, RVD was also the ECW World Champion as well. But that belt was not on the line. It was just the WWE Championship. We had Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton in a rematch from One Night Stand. So, and we also had the reemergence of DX, D-Generation X, Triple H and Shawn Michaels against the Spirit Squad. One little rant I'm going to go on. With RVD, this guy had his career made, and he threw it all away because he got arrested for smoking dope. Him and Sabu got pulled over, and RVD unfortunately had to surrender both championships, and he was suspended for 30 days. Rightfully so. I don't blame Vince McMahon for suspending him, because when you work for WWE and they give you the top prize, the WWE title, and you decide to do drugs, and Vince McMahon finds out about it, he's going to lose his trust in you because you decided to throw it all away because you want to be a freaking freaking junkie. You want to be a drug addict. You know, and RVD's most known for smoking pot. He's a professional stoner to the max, and unfortunately, look what it got him. He lost the WWE Championship. So I kind of criticize RVD for that. He could have handled it better. You know, the WWE gave him the gold, and he freaking blew it because he wanted to spend time on his habit, and it cost him big. So I still like RVD. I still think he's one of the best wrestlers of this generation, but at the same time, you know, he really effed up. He should have never done that, because once Vince McMahon loses his trust in you, he's never going to push you again, and that's exactly what happened. And he actually left the company a year later. So yeah, I mean, I personally, I mean, I don't have anything against marijuana, but if you're going to be foolish and do it recklessly, then we got a problem. So that's another rant for another day. But anyway, did I show you the back? Also, this was the night when Imposter Kane defeated the real Kane, which, another crappy storyline. They could have done without that. That was Vengeance. And then DX beat the Spirit Squad. Umaga versus Eugene, squash match. Great show. Great show. Almost dropped the DVD. Great American Bash 2006, which marked the return of my man. Where are you? There you are, Dave Bautista, one of my favorite wrestlers. So, also we have King Booker versus Rey Mysterio for the World Heavyweight title. This was the night when Chavo Guerrero turned into a bad guy. No, I'm not going to say heel, because I think that sounds stupid and retarded and lame. So, I'm not like these freaking wrestling smarks who use that word. I hate wrestling terminology. I can't stress enough. But anyway, Booker T won the title because Chavo became a bad guy. We had Undertaker versus Great Khali. Well, it was supposed to be the Great Khali in a Punjabi prison. but then it was replaced by the Big Show because Khali was hurt or something like that. So I don't know. So Great American Bash was a good show. I liked it. This marked JBL's first night on commentary, and then we have. I didn't like JBL as a commentator in that period. He was annoying. And of course we had Gregory Helms versus Matt Hardy. And yeah, that was what it was. Great American Bash was what it was. So The Undertaker did beat the Big Show, by the way, in that match. So I want to make sure to show you the back just to make sure. Yeah, I like to show the back of every DVD. That way you know pretty much what the front and the back looks like. So next up is SummerSlam. I'm not a big SummerSlam fan, guys. I think it's one of the worst pay-per-views. I don't consider it to be a major pay-per-view, to be honest. So we have the McMahons versus DX. That was a good match. Booker T versus Batista for the world title, King Booker. We have Edge versus John Cena for the WWE title. This took place in Boston, by the way. Boston. Sound like a freaking New Yorker. Hulk Hogan versus Randy. Oh, I forgot about that match. Hulk Hogan versus Randy Orton. Sabu versus Big Show for the ECW title. Oh, sorry, I had a burp. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. Mick Foley versus Ric Flair in an I Quit match. This was a pretty loaded up card. SummerSlam was pretty good this year. I mean, I didn't like the Batista Booker match because I thought Batista should have won. And by the way, guys, when Rey Mysterio wore that big world title, the gold belt, it looks so freaking big around his small body. It's like, it pretty much engulfed his entire abdomen. It's like, wow, freaking big, gigantic belt. Didn't need to be that big. It looked good on guys like Batista, Triple H, and Kane and The Undertaker, but for some reason it didn't look good on Mysterio. And I love Rey Mysterio, but that belt just looked weird on him. I'm glad that, when it got back to Batista, it looked good. So, SummerSlam 2006, good show. Rey Mysterio fought Chavo at SummerSlam. So, this is a funny one. Unforgiven 2006. This is most known for the night when DX shoved Big Show. This was the night when DX shoved Vince McMahon's head up the Big Show's butt. Oh, it was priceless. It was funny. And I love the Big Show, but that was like, wow, that was crazy. So take a look at the back. So you had DX versus the McMahons and the Big Show in a handicap Hell in a Cell match. Yeah, this Hell in a Cell is most known for that incident where Vince had his head shoved literally up the Big Show's butt crack. I remember JR on commentary. It was freaking crazy. And then you had Edge and John Cena in a TLC match for the WWE Championship. And also we had Jeff Hardy's pay-per-view return after being away from the company for a few years. And a losing effort against Johnny Nitro. We had the Highlanders versus the Spirit Squad for the tag team titles. Pretty good match, I guess. Randy Orton versus Carlito. Okay, I guess. But yeah, this pay-per-view is well known for that Hell in a Cell match. Where McMahon got his head rammed up Big Show's booty. And again, this is coming from a Big Show fan like me, It's funny. And then obviously Unforgiven was known for Trish's final pay-per-view before she left WWE. It was technically her retirement match against Lita. The pay-per-view took place in Toronto, by the way, which is also Edge's hometown. And it's Trish's hometown. So anyway, little interesting trivia there. This is No Mercy 2006. We have the main event on the front cover. We have Batista, Bobby Lashley, Finlay, and King Booker. I must admit the world title looks good around Booker's waist. Yeah, Booker T, King Booker. No Mercy 2006 took place in North Carolina. I think it was Raleigh, North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this was the main event, which you see on the picture here on the cover. It's Fatal 4-Way World Championship match, which was won by Booker T, all via questionable tactics. We had Undertaker versus Mr. Kennedy in a non-title match. Of course, I could never picture Undertaker with a U.S. title. Chavo Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. Gregory Helms versus Matt Hardy. Paul London and Brian Kendrick defending the tag titles against Casey James and Idol Stevens. Don't know who the hell those guys are. I think Idol Stevens became known as Damian Sandow, I think. This also marked the debut of MVP. So he wrestled Marty Garner. So, yeah, nobody knows. I think everybody remembers Marty Garner for when he oversold the Pedigree. So, yeah, MVP won, obviously. Chris Benoit made his return to pay-per-view against William Regal. And, of course, no one's going to acknowledge Benoit like I said earlier, because of what he did. Freaking murderer. People still freaking, bring him up. Whatever. Guy was wrong for what he did. But anyway, I'm going on that rant again. Sorry. Cyber Sunday 2006. They ditched the Taboo Tuesday name and gave it Cyber Sunday. So, this was known for the main event, which was the Champion of Champions match, which obviously the world title was on the line. There's Big Show, ECW champion, John Cena, WWE champion, Booker T, World Heavyweight champion, King Booker, whatever you want to call him. This was also the night when Kevin Federline made his appearance and cost John Cena the match, pretty much starting their feud. There you go. Also the debut of Rated RKO, Orton and Edge against DX with Eric Bischoff, questionable officiating. And, yeah, this was the official birth of Rated RKO. Also, Kane versus Umaga, loser leaves... Actually, no, Kane and Umaga fought in October in that loser leaves town match. So Kane was already a part of SmackDown during this pay-per-view. So it was Kane versus Umaga. Kane was voted by the fans. You also had Roddy Piper and Ric Flair against the Spirit Squad, which marked the final night of Spirit Squad's tag team title run. Hallelujah. But it was short-lived because Flair and Edge got the belts like 2 weeks later, I think. So, all in all, great show. Liked it. Loved it, actually. Well, not loved it because the ending was crappy. Freaking K-Fed getting involved. This is one of my favorite pay-per-views. Survivor Series 2006. There you see John Cena, Big Show, DX, Rated RKO on the cover. There you see that skull design in the background. Pretty cool. Pretty solid. Oh, almost dropped it. There you go. There's the back. The main event was Booker T and Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship. Batista would reclaim the World Heavyweight title by defeating King Booker, albeit using the championship as a weapon. But it was Booker's fault for bringing it in the ring. So, yeah, Booker T was a villain at the time. Not a heel, not a tweener, because those terms sound stupid. He was a bad guy. He was a villain. He was a rule breaker. So, yeah. And Booker T was Batista was the hero. He was the fan favorite. He was the good guy. So, yeah, Batista was the one that came out on the winning end. So, yeah, Booker T lost the world title. Chris Benoit versus Chavo Guerrero for the U.S. title. Team DX versus Team Rated RKO. Team Ric Flair versus Team Spirit Squad. And Lita versus Mickie James in her final match, which was a pretty bad send-off. If you remember, Crime Time sold all of Lita's, whatever the hell they sold or whatever. They had an auction or some... It was a funny segment. I love Shad Gaspard. May he rest in peace. So, Survivor Series 2006, good show. Recommend you buy it or watch it on the network. This is by far one of the worst pay-per-views. Ask any wrestling fan and they'll tell you that this was the worst pay-per-view in all of WWE. This pay-per-view had no business being put on the air. ECW One Night Stand 2006. The worst Elimination Chamber match. I heard that this idiot right here, CM Punk, I heard he was supposed to win. Yes, I'm not a big CM Punk fan. I never did like him since day one. I just never liked him. He's overrated. He should have. I heard Paul Heyman wanted him to win, but Vince McMahon wanted that guy, Bobby Lashley, to win. So, Yeah, Big Show was the champion. Sabu wasn't even in the match because he was replaced with Hardcore Holly because they did some injury angle. So I don't know what was up with that, but whatever. Also, we have another match that was advertised: the Hardy Boys versus Eminem, and that's pretty much the only two matches people care about. The rest of it was just filler. You had Balls Mahoney versus Matt Striker, and that was it. So next up, and finally, we have my personal favorite, Armageddon 2006. This marked one of the exciting matches that I can remember. MVP versus Kane Inferno match. Great match. I really enjoyed that match. They hadn't done an Inferno match in 7 years at this point. So Kane got the win. MVP was burnt. They had a great match anyway. Then you had Mr. Kennedy versus Undertaker in a last ride match. Which, by the way, they did wrestle at Survivor Series in a First Blood match. But it was controversial because MVP came out and tried to hit Kennedy, but he hit The Undertaker instead. So, yeah, MVP was punished in this pay-per-view by getting burnt by Kane. And, let me see, Armageddon. This was a SmackDown pay-per-view. Oh, by the way, Cyber Sunday was a Raw pay-per-view. By the way, I forgot to mention that. It even has the date. As Sunday, December 17th, 2006. And the main event was Batista and John Cena against King Booker and Finlay. Normally, I don't like tag team matches closing the show, but I didn't mind this one. It was pretty cool. And it was opened up by MVP versus Kane Inferno match. So, this is also the night where Joey Mercury got his nose broken bad, and he had to be rushed to a medical facility to get that fixed because he was there was literally blood pouring everywhere. It's labeled as one of the worst injuries that could ever happen, and yeah, it was tough. It was a tough night at the office for Joey Mercury, and I think he would later retire after that incident. So also we had the Boogeyman versus The Miz. We had Gregory Helms versus Jimmy Wang Yang. Not too many people remember him. We had I'm trying to think, what else did we have? Chris Benoit versus Chavo Guerrero for the U.S. title rematch from Survivor Series. And that was pretty much it. Stellar pay-per-view. I love this pay-per-view. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up, guys. I know this video has been a little lengthy, so hope you guys found it entertaining. And thank you once again, guys, for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to Mike Gamer for subscribing. Thank you to BrianX64. And just stay subscribed to the channel, guys, for more awesome videos like these. Alright, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Adios, amigos.